Hi, my loves. I was guided to sit down and ask Spirit one specific question. How will it happen? How will the Orange One's removal actually take place? What followed was a deeply layered story, not just about politics, but about power, illusion, divine timing, and the kind of justice that works through both seen and unseen hands. As always, please listen to your intuition while watching. If something resonates deep in your chest, hold on to it. And if something doesn't, that's okay too. Lovingly leave it behind. Not every message is for every soul, and that's part of the magic. Let's step into this together, one chapter at a time. Spirit, what is the first domino that must fall to begin the unraveling of his power? Upright? The story begins with Temperance upright, and this is no small symbol. Spirit saying that the first domino isn't a weapon or a scandal, it's a correction. Temperance speaks of divine recalibration. Behind the scenes, a slow but sacred realignment has already been set in motion, blending elements that were once in opposition, moderating extremes, and shifting the energetic balance in a way that no one can fully see yet. This card says, the first domino is not loud, it is precise, quiet, unavoidable. The energy has become unsustainable, and the scales must recenter. In other words, it's not one dramatic blow. It's the spiritual necessity of equilibrium reasserting itself. The machinery of karma is humming under the surface. We then receive the Page of Pentacles reversed. And here's where the rupture begins. This is him, or someone close to him, dropping the ball. It shows incompetence, mishandled evidence, failure to learn or prepare, or youthful arrogance disguised as strategy. This is someone who thought they were playing chess but didn't know the rules. They ignored a document, a transaction, a technicality, and that has become a thread that unravels the whole fabric. This card is screaming. The collapse begins when someone underestimates the system meant to protect them. We then receive the Sun reversed. The reversal of the Sun is exposure, but in a shameful or delayed way. It's not the triumphant truth revealed. It's embarrassing revelation, ego collapse, and delusion burned away under harsh light. This is the unraveling of the image he tried to project. His public persona begins to rot, not from the outside attacks, but from within. And Spirit says, he built a stage, not a legacy. The light that once fed him will now expose him. The unraveling starts with divine rebalancing, not drama. There's a quiet shift happening spiritually, a karmic alignment that sets dominoes in place. Then a misstep from someone within his own orbit triggers the collapse. Someone fails to protect a detail that was supposed to stay hidden, and finally, the image cracks. The persona can no longer hold. The light he used to power becomes the very thing that dissolves it. The first domino is not external. It's spiritual, foolish, and internal. Spirit, who or what delivers the exposure that breaks the illusion? The first card we received was the Nine of Pentacles reversed. The message here is razor sharp. This is a woman or a feminine energy who has seen behind the curtain. Someone once thought to be kept, complicit, or loyal is now seeing the rot for what it is. This card reverse suggests dependency turned sour, privilege weaponized against the wrong person, or someone who was once silent but is now speaking. She may have been comfortable but not blind. This is someone tied to the illusion, possibly financially or reputationally, who decides that freedom is worth the fallout, and she breaks ranks. Spirit is whispering, he underestimated the one he thought was bought. Then comes the Six of Swords reversed. This is a refusal to let it go quietly. Someone tries to keep things buried. There are deliberate attempts to prevent the transition, to stay in power, to delay the inevitable exposure. But this resistance only draws more attention. This card reverse says three things. Someone doesn't know when to walk away. There's going to be a failed escape plan. They're going to try to leave with secrets, but the secrets are going to refuse to leave with them. This is the energetic tug of war. Stay hidden or be dragged. And then the Chariot upright charges in. This is movement, speed, and unstoppable forward motion, often tied to federal level systems, legal proceedings, military or law enforcement, or strategic power plays that cannot be ignored. In this context, the chariot is not about triumph, it's about consequences in motion. This is the mechanism of exposure, whether it's an indictment, a legal action, a raid, a televised moment, or a leak too large to ignore. This is the force that carries the truth forward, regardless of who tries to slow it down. Spirit is telling me what was meant to be seen will not wait. The truth has wheels now. Together, the cards are letting us know that the exposure is delivered by someone close, likely a woman or feminine figure who was once seen as passive or bought. She turns, she chooses truth over silence. But the powers that be try to suppress the shift. The resistance to leaving gracefully only fuels the chaos. Then comes the chariot, a powerful law force that cannot be redirected. The story bursts into the public eye. What was once whispered behind closed doors becomes headlines, footage, and fire. The illusion dies in full view of the world. Spirit, what role does the legal system or justice play in his actual removal? We receive the moon upright. This card is Spirit pulling back the veil and whispering, justice won't look the way you hoped it would. It speaks of secrets, hidden agendas, psychological warfare, and manipulated narratives. The moon says that the legal system is not the hero, at least not in the way that people imagined. It's a maze of shadows where some truths stay buried, some evidence never sees the light, and some players wear masks even while testifying. There is justice here, but it's poised with illusion, and Spirit is telling me the trial was never just in court. The real verdict is happening in the collective psyche. We then receive the Five of Swords upright. And this is where the strategy sharpens. This card is cutthroat. Someone wins, but at what cost? This card reveals power moves done in silence, winning through manipulation or sabotage, and someone who will do anything to avoid actual conviction. Does it sound like anybody we might know? This is not a clean trial with a gavel. This is a backroom chess game with pieces sacrificed in secret and loyalties turned into leverage. The Five of Swords suggests that he might not be fully brought down by justice, but he is unseated. There is a loss of power, loss of support, and a shattering of his image because he tried to win too dirty for too long. And Spirit is telling me he played every hand like a game, but justice is not impressed by cleverness. The price of deceit is erosion from within. Together, the cards are telling us that the justice system plays a murky, indirect role. It doesn't save the day, it stirs the darkness. Some truths stay hidden, some players are protected, but the games behind closed doors cost him everything. He is not fully destroyed by the law, but he is strategically stripped of power by those once loyal to him, and the world watches as he falls in a haze of confusion, betrayal, and silent consequences. Spirit, what is the final trigger that forces him out of power and who ignites it? We receive the King of Cups upright, and he is the master of emotional control, someone who knows how to hold power without needing to flex it publicly. He is not a leader, but a deep one. This card suggests that the final trigger comes from a calm, composed, masculine figure behind the scenes. It could possibly be a judge, a senator, a strategist, or even someone from the intelligence community who is emotionally stable, quiet, but deeply aware that this man is now a liability to national equilibrium. He doesn't act out of rage, he acts out of necessity. And Spirit is telling me the empire doesn't fall by fire, it is absorbed by someone who has learned to master the storm. Then enters the Hermit upright. And this is deeply profound. The hermit is withdrawal, not forced removal, and not a handcuffed ending. This is a strategic stepping back cloaked in spiritual optics. It reflects isolation, silencing, a quiet departure disguised as a choice. a path inward that was not chosen but presented. The hermit is when the world turns away and he is left in the silence of his own echo. Spirit is telling me he was never built for stillness. The stillness is where the consequences live. We then receive the Queen of Wands upright, and she is the spark. She is visionary, charismatic, empowered, strategic, magnetic, and public. This is the woman who initiates the final nudge. She is not the law, she's the force of reckoning. She could be a prosecutor, a journalist, or a political figure, or someone who owns a platform that exposes what the law won't touch. She brings the light, the message, the undeniable fire. The Queen of Wands doesn't plead, she commands awareness. And Spirit is telling me she doesn't whisper the truth, she broadcasts it. And the crowd listens. Together, these three paint a divine choreography. A wise masculine closes the circle, the system ushers in solitude, and the fierce feminine lights the final match, not with rage, but with righteous, orchestrated precision. The end doesn't come from one direction, it's a trinity. A calm power shifts in the tone via the King of Cups. Solitude becomes his only option via the Hermit, and an illumination that burns away what was left of the illusion via the Queen of Wands. This is not exile, it's containment. His voice is muted, his stage is removed, he is seen and left. And perhaps the worst of all for him, he becomes irrelevant. And for the final question, I asked, what does Spirit most want us to remember about this process? We begin with the Nine of Swords upright, and Spirit doesn't soften the blow. This card reveals the emotional toll of witnessing delayed justice, the sleepless nights, the helpless spirals, and the personal weight many of us have carried silently. This card doesn't just say, you're anxious. It says, you felt powerless, terrified that nothing will ever shift. You've replayed worst case scenarios in your mind so many times that they've begun to feel inevitable. You've questioned whether the truth still matters or if it's already too late. This card is Spirit validating your pain. You're not weak for feeling it, and you're not broken for carrying this deeply. We then receive the Star upright. And this is the most beautiful answer to the darkest fear. This is hope not because everything is fixed, but because something higher is still guiding the flow beneath it all. The star is whispering three things to us. One, there is divine order, even if it's not the one your ego expected. Two, you are still connected to Source, to each other, and to a future that's worth walking toward. And three, no matter how long it takes, light will find the cracks. It always does. And then we close with the King of Swords upright. He is the sword of truth made visible. This is the return of clarity, of divine discernment, of just decisions made not out of emotion, but out of alignment. This king doesn't come for drama. He comes to correct, to cut through, and to name things as they are. Spirit is telling me, fear may have led the night, but truth commands the day. You are not imagining how hard this has been. The Nine of Swords affirms emotional burnout, the spirals, the fears that we've all carried, not just personally, but collectively, and Spirit sees it and they honor it. But the star reminds us that underneath the ache is a sacred current pulling us forward, slowly, quietly, and with more love than we often realize. And the King of Swords, he is the promise. When the dust settles, truth is what remains. Not spin, not manipulation, not illusion, just truth. And that's what will outlast him. My loves, this message was not wrapped in comfort, and that's because truth rarely is. Spirit didn't try to soften the pain we've all been feeling. Instead, they acknowledged it, named it, and held it in the light. This process, it's been exhausting, isolating, for some of us, even terrifying. So many of you have been carrying this weight, silently replaying worst case scenarios, wondering if justice even exists anymore. But Spirit came through clearly tonight. Your fear does not cancel the outcome. Your spirals do not stop the shift. Your hope, however bruised, is still enough. The light is still guiding us, and truth is still coming. The star rises after the darkest card in the deck. And the King of Swords reminds us that clarity, real sovereign clarity, always returns. Please remember that this is a collective message. Take what resonates, let the rest fall away with love. Not everything will be for you, and that's okay. Trust what your spirit knows to hold. Thank you for walking through this with me. I see you, I love you, and I am so grateful that you're here. Drop a comment below. I read every single one, and I truly feel your presence. I'd love to know your thoughts and insights on this reading. Make sure you're subscribed and that you hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever a new video is available. We are not powerless. We're just waiting for the moment the world catches up to what we already know, and it's happening. Take care of yourselves. I will check in with you soon. I'll meet you in the comments. Love you guys.